welcome everybody to another segment of Lewis at Large. Yours truly, Warner Lewis. Once again from the flight deck, and of course that means some smart talk radios in your future. And got we have a first timer here. Sometimes I feel like a first timer, but to this show anyway, Sally Zorgy. She's done many things, not the least of which is she has spent time helping healthcare access. She spent time with the Kansas State Historical Endowment Association. I'm not saying it right. Actually, it's the historical. Anyway, we'll let her explain it. But most recently, she has been named the new executive director of Downtown Lawrence Incorporated, and she takes over for Kathy Hamilton. And she's in a period of transition right now, so we won't ask her too many tough questions, but we are very happy to have her here. Sally, how are you, my friend?
I'm great today. How are you?
Well, I'm good. You seem uniquely energized and prepared for this position. Share with our Lewis at Large listeners. You've got a long history in Lawrence of being very involved, and share with us a little bit more about your resume.
Sure. Well, when I first moved, we moved here in 2003 because my husband is a professor at KU. He's in the Religious Studies Department, and he is the director of the Indigenous Studies program at KU. So when we first moved here, it was just the two of us, and we lived on Mass Street, actually, which was fantastic. We lived at 15th and Mass, and I was especially happy for that because I grew up in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill on Massachusetts Avenue. So I have a fondness for all things Mass in my heart. And then we've had two kids since then, and I've moved around a little bit, but we still live sort of the Barker neighborhood and very close to downtown and to KU, and we love it. I started out at Manpower here downtown at 8th and New Hampshire as a staffing specialist, and I worked with a lot of the manufacturing companies here in town, so that was a kind of an eye-opening experience, and it was a great experience to learn about some of the larger businesses here in and around Lawrence and the larger employers, and just to learn about the manufacturing side of things. And then I was very fortunate to be with Healthcare Access Clinic, the primary care clinic for the uninsured in Douglas County. For about 4.5 years, I was the development director there, and we grew a tremendous amount during that time, including moving from the east side to the building that they're in currently, right across from the hospital. They're at 330 Main Street, and had a really, really rewarding experience working to raise funds to help provide medical care for those who would otherwise go without. And then I took a slight change. I stayed in the development business, and I went over to the Kansas Historical Foundation in Topeka, and I was there for almost 2 years. And that is like the KU endowment to KU. It's the Historical Foundation supports the programming and efforts of the Kansas State Historical Society. And that was a marvelous group to work with. And I was very fortunate to work in the museum and archive complex, such beautiful buildings. And I was very lucky I could go down into the museum gallery and look at all the amazing artifacts related to Kansas history anytime I wanted to. And that was a lot of fun to work on a statewide level as opposed to such a local level. And I made a lot of great friends and connections across the state, and was very fortunate to get to know some of our legislators and past legislators and see what goes on in a state agency, but still have the freedom to be engaging the public, both statewide and actually across the nation, to help them become educated about Kansas and our unique history here and our important history here. And then that led me back to Lawrence, which is, we're going to be commemorating the Quantrill's raid here later on this month, and our history here in Lawrence is so essential to all of that. We're really kind of a microcosm for the country here in Kansas, and especially in the eastern part of the state where it was so bloody, and I know the rivalry still lives on.
Yeah, indeed. You spent some time, obviously, working in the nonprofit area and working to help other people. And I know that sometimes when we think that the director or executive director of Downtown Lawrence is really just serving private business, but there's all kinds of organizations, profit and nonprofit, and just general of general interest to the public that are down there.
Right, and not only that, but, I mean, Downtown Lawrence Incorporated is a nonprofit organization. So our goal and our mission in DLI is to enhance and protect and promote downtown Lawrence and what a special place it is. And it is, as you say, a conglomeration of retail businesses, of restaurants and bars, of music venues, and places for special events and shows. We've got the Arts Center, and then we have a wide variety of professional and personal services, everything from law firms to accountants to software and computer support companies to salons and tanning salons and you name it. So it's a very it's a varied group, a diverse group, and a lot of different interests. But I think that everybody comes together wanting to make sure that what's so special about downtown Lawrence stays that way. But we're certainly growing with the times and, trying to keep up with technology and different ways to reach people, to bring them to Lawrence, to bring them downtown, and to let them know all that we have to offer here.
The country, and Lawrence is no exception, is let's face it, coming out of a very difficult period financially for a lot of people. In your opinion, as you're starting fresh here, do you still see some of the remnants of that? Is that some of your challenge is getting people to start shopping again, or is that really an issue?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I think it is anywhere, whether I'm dealing in this position with people who are consumers or whether you're in the development world and you are working with donors or prospective donors. We're looking at this wide audience of prospective visitors to Lawrence and to downtown. And are they going to shop? Are they going to dine? Are they going to see an exhibit at a gallery? Are they going to go to a show, a concert, what have you? And so I do think that people, just from just literally started 1 month ago today, so talking to some of our members and our board, things are moving. Of course, we'll have a huge influx when the students are back in another 2 weeks. And you do see knots of people throughout the summer when students and soon-to-be students are here with their parents for orientation. But I think it's always on everyone's mind. I mean, we hear that the housing market is improving. Well, there's still houses that sit on the market, and then some sell quickly. So, it's never a blanket situation, I think. But all we can do is just to keep promoting and marketing ourselves and letting people know this is a fantastic place to come and visit, and you can really find anything you want downtown.
Indeed. Again, if you just joined us, yours truly, Warner Lewis, from the flight deck of Lewis at Large Radio. And in this segment, special guest Sally Zorgy, first time on this show, and we're very glad to have her. She's the new executive director of Downtown Lawrence Incorporated. Some may think, wow, what a daunting job. Others may think, oh, that's automatic. Downtown's already crowded all the time. That's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it, for you? Perception is a big deal.
It is, and actually we had a board meeting this morning, and so what we always have to be conscious of is that not everybody's heard of us. And not everybody knows what Downtown Lawrence Incorporated does. And I found that in all of my nonprofit work. You think, oh my gosh, how can anybody not know about the State Historical Society? Well, believe it or not, there are people who don't know anything about it. It's just not on their radar screen. So Downtown Lawrence is an interesting mix, and the position is an interesting mix of tasks and responsibilities because it is a business association. It's a nonprofit business association that allows member businesses to come together and to cohere and to kind of promote a common agenda, which is to bring business to downtown. But these are all individual business owners, and so everybody has their own way of doing things. They have their own days that they're open. They have their own hours that they're open. Some people like events and some people don't. Some people think we should be doing X and others that we should be doing Y. So there's that coordination aspect of dealing with right now we have over 160 members, so, 160 different opinions. But there's also the aspect that we sponsor large-scale events downtown, the largest of which is sidewalk sale. A lot of people, and I started on July 1st and immediately thrown into sidewalk sale. A lot of people don't realize the tremendous amount of coordination that goes to putting that event on. They think, people just put their stuff out on the sidewalk, and they put it on sale, and everyone shows up at 5 in the morning and starts shopping.
Yep.
Well, a lot goes into that. I mean, getting permits from the city and the insurance and the marketing, and this has been going on for 54 years, but you can't stop promoting it and marketing it and coordinating it so that we know who's where, people are where they're supposed to be, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, they have the resources they need, everybody has a safe and fun day. There's a lot of work behind that. And so that's one aspect. And then, of course, we have the Santa Rescue, and we have shopping nights downtown. Girls' Night Downtown will be next. We have a part in Busker Fest in that we are the major sponsor, and it's held down here. We don't actually coordinate all of that. And we have a number of other events. So there's that aspect to it. And then there's also, and some may say most importantly, or, equally as important, is being a unified voice for downtown on public policy issues. So when there's development or business coming in or construction or, the transit hub is going to move, we take that into consideration. We discuss that issue, and then we're able to hopefully come up with, somewhat of a coherent response and a unified response as to what our position is on that. And that's very important when it comes to, especially we hear about all these development projects and, which way is the economy going and things like that, and the local economy. So we provide that as well. And then we just try to be a resource to our members. So do they need help marketing their business? Do they need help getting through any of the processes with the city? Do they have questions about how do you, I had a call, how do I ask somebody to stop playing their trombone all day in front of my store?
Right.
Or what about the police? Or, how do I deal with parking? Or how do, whatever it might be. So we provide a resource for that as well.
Well, and another question I've got, particularly for you, fresh onto the job and yet with a lot of experience working with organizations that also try to appeal to a variety of different populations. As you enter this job and look over the landscape, and everybody will do your job, I'm sure, over time, just a little bit differently. But what do you see from your perspective as maybe one of downtown's big challenges? And what do you see sort of as its primary asset?
Well, I think the challenge for downtown, I think, especially for the individuals, the business owners, they take a great risk. I mean, when you open a business on your own and you go out, you're taking a big risk. So I really admire all of these people, whether it's selling shoes or opening a retail store or opening a restaurant. You don't know what's going to happen. You hope for the best. What is it? Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So the people are stretched in terms of, they may have business loans, they're trying to make their payroll, et cetera, et cetera. And so I do see the challenge is for businesses to market themselves and to truly get the word out as to what it is that they provide, whether that's a particular type of cuisine in a restaurant, whether that's, a certain line of clothing, whether it's we have, however many Grammy winners who come and perform downtown at the Granada. It's hard to get that word out as one person. And so what I see as a challenge is for, I say, you can get anything down here. And we are so fortunate to have all of the food down here that we do. I mean, many places in Kansas and Missouri don't have that. You can, and especially somebody who moved here from living in the East Coast and in the Southwest, and I lived in Chicago, I've lived in a lot of big cities. When you move to a smaller town, you think, oh, I hope I can get Chinese food or what have you. Burt's Bees lip balm could be anything. And I think that we're very fortunate that we have so much access, and I think the challenge is to get that message out on an individual level and on a group level. I think one of the biggest assets is actually that it is local people. I've had, just even in the last month, why don't you have more chain stores downtown, or why don't you have more chain restaurants? Well, it's really nice that local people do take the risk. They might be longtime residents, they might be newcomers, but it's what they see as a service or products that they can provide to the community, and it adds to the sense of downtown as a kind of the community gathering place or the public square idea. You see people you might see somebody you grew up with and went to high school with, owns the barber shop or what have you. And I think you can't recreate that. It's either there or it's not.
Sally, is again, downtown Lawrence, probably two aspects. Number one, you want to make sure that downtown Lawrence merchants and the businesses and organizations there get sort of first shot or a shot at local consumers. And also, you're trying to create a quality destination for those from out of town. You pretty much spend your time 50-50 on both?
I would say, when I came into the job and I asked Kathy, who, by the way, leaves incredibly tremendous shoes to fill, and she was fantastic we had 3 weeks to overlap, and that was invaluable, and I miss her every day because she's so much fun also. But I said, well, what do you spend the majority of your time on? And she said, it's just everything. It could be, it could be going to a city commission meeting and keeping the pulse of that. And then it could be, talking to developers about what's going on at the 9th and New Hampshire project. And then it could be, like I said, the store owner who has somebody playing the trombone out front, or, has a concern because they're worried about their employees locking up and getting home safely, or that they want to praise, the police or the fire or whatever are the city workers cleaning up after a parade. They clean it up immediately. How do we get that message to them? Thank you so much for taking good care of us. And it's also keeping your eye out what businesses might be looking for a spot. I get a phone call and it's, hey, we're bringing this event to town. So it's a little bit all over the map right now. But I think, what you say is fairly accurate, that, you've got the larger interests, and then you have the individual interests. But the individual interests just happen to be a lot of them, a large group of them.
Well, Sally, and again, we're talking to Sally Zorgy. She is the executive director of Downtown Lawrence Incorporated. Sally, when this interview airs, we will be in the throes of back to school, mm-hmm. and we all know what that's all about. The people moving in, hustle, bustle everywhere. Take us, if you can, look on your calendar and go out a few weeks, or go out as far as you want. What kind of things do we have to look forward to late summer and fall?
Well, we're going to get into, in mid-August, actually August 10th, the Sandbar is having their birthday party, and they're having a big concert and street party out in front on 8th Street between 8th and New Hampshire, between Mass and New Hampshire, rather, and the Fabulous Thunderbirds are coming to be part of that. Then 2 weeks after that, we go into the Busker Fest, which is our wonderful weekend of street performers that come from all over the country, and the incredible Richard Renner coordinates that, just pretty much all himself. So we'll start that. The Busker Ball is Thursday, August 22nd, and then the Busker Fest goes Friday, August 23rd to Sunday afternoon, August 25th, with street performances round the clock, pretty much, and all kinds of fun. Abe and Jake's will be having their open house on the 30th of August. And then before you know it, we'll start KU football season. So we're going to have I'm sure we'll be busy in September and October with different football weekends and band day. We'll have the Elvis Parade and the Rev It Up Car Show down in South Park on the 28th of September. We will have the KU Homecoming Parade and Pep Rally Thursday, October 3rd. That's going to be downtown this year, again on that block of 8 between Mass and, it'll wind up between Mass and New Hampshire. And then homecoming football game is Saturday the 5th. And I'm expecting to have a big weekend right after Thanksgiving because Friday the 29th of November is our Santa rescue from Weavers. That's out in front of Weavers, and we know Santa lands on the roof, and our Lawrence Fire and Medical crew rescue him, and then he sits down and talks to the kids. And then the next day is KU versus K-State football, and that is here at Memorial Stadium. And then the following Saturday is the old-fashioned Christmas parade.
So it is
and we have Halloween.
All right.
Trick-or-treating on Halloween, Thursday, October 31st. So we've got a lot lined up, and that's not even Mother Earth News Fair is going to be here in October. I'm going to meet with them tomorrow. So we'll have a lot going on.
We haven't even made it to Labor Day yet.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, thank you so much again, Sally Zorgy. She is the executive director of Downtown Lawrence Incorporated, new to the job, but loaded with energy, loaded with experience, well versed in the area for sure. And Sally, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Hey, if you would, real quickly, how can people kind of, if they want to see what's most current, what's going on in Downtown Lawrence, where can they go?
Downtown Lawrence website is downtownlawrence.com. So pretty easy, just all written out, downtownlawrence.com. Then we also have a Facebook page, and that's Downtown Lawrence. And then the different events, for instance, Girls Night Downtown will be coming up in October. We haven't set the date yet, but that has its own Facebook page as well. Final Fridays we're involved with, and you can get information on Final Fridays actually from the Lawrence Arts Center website, which is lawrenceartscenter.org, and you can click on the Final Fridays tab and see the map and see some of the venues and some write-ups about what's going to be showing each Final Friday.
Hey, listen, thanks again.
My pleasure.
Welcome to what sounds like a very, very busy world,
Yeah.
but you're used to that, and again, thanks a bunch.
Oh, thank you, Warner.
You bet. We will be back with more right after this on Lewis at Large.